Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lattes on My Mind. Hannah, what are we going to be talking about today?
We're going to be talking about Loki, the trickster god. So grab your lattes and join us for the journey. So how was your week, Felina?
It was long. It was very long. I got a MacBook this week so that I could help edit. Whoop, 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 whoop. And the audio didn't work. So
that's not important for a podcast,
no,
is
you
it?
don't need audio to edit a podcast at all. So I returned it and I'm getting a new one.
Well, and I'm currently waiting to finish editing my first one because because we have both been so tired. We had time change last Sunday.
Change really got us.
And it really got us. I have been so tired this week. And I've been getting up. Well, I got up really early that one day. And then one night I only got 4.5 hours of sleep. So I've just been like,
girl.
And then I feel like I'm studying every night. I'm way too into the subject, I think. And I was like, I want to get this right. But then every article I read was like the same thing. But I was still like, I must have more.
Yes.
But anyway.
That's how I felt with my first one too.
Yeah.
It was like,
yeah, you're like,
it's all the same information,
right.
But then like you find one more little nugget, and it's like,
right.
I gotta look at another one.
But I wanted to make sure, yeah,
right.
So I was like, well, what does the other one say? Because some of it with like the Norse mythology, we'll get into it, but like some of the gods like have different names, or they're like have variations of the same name, and then there's some debate as to like, was it this one or was it this one? And so I was like, hold on, I thought you said before it was this one. So
right.
So why Loki?
Why the heck not Loki?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I remember hearing about Tom Hiddleston and being like, okay, why is everyone so obsessed with him?
Yeah.
Being like, just because.
But little did I
know that I would become one of those people.
Yeah.
So I think that I was way behind like everyone else in seeing the first Avengers and like the first Thor and everything.
Yeah.
And so the first movie I watched with Loki was actually the first Avengers. It wasn't Thor. Like I went back and watched Thor. Which was crazy because everyone hated Thor.
Just to clarify, today we're not talking about movie Loki.
This is true. We're not talking about movie Loki, but this is why.
This is why
we're talking about Loki. Yes, we will be talking about the mythology behind Loki because that is the more unfamiliar Loki to everyone, and to see how wild he actually is. He's wild.
I'm excited.
He's a wild man.
I know nothing about this topic, so.
But you know about Tom Hiddleston.
I mean, obviously. It's Tom Hiddleston. Who doesn't know about Tom Hiddleston?
I didn't. And then I was introduced and I was like, okay, hold on. And so I got on the Loki train with everyone else.
Choo choo.
Choo choo. And I became obsessed with him. And it was funny because kind of like a little backstory. He was in this show, Betrayal, on Broadway. And it was just 3 actors, not a musical.
But like a play.
Just like a straight play. I think that's what they call it, right? Just no music. And it was Tom Hiddleston, Zawe Ashton, who he is now dating, and they have a child together.
Beautiful.
Isn't that crazy?
I didn't know that Tom Hiddleston was a dad until you told me that the other day.
I know. See, you learn something new every
know
day.
He had a kid.
When you're starting a podcast, you learn something new every day.
Oh, yeah.
Every day.
Every day.
But yeah, well, it was recent, I think. Like, because I was like, was the child even born yet? But yeah, so they have a child together. And then the third actor was Charlie Cox. And at the time, I didn't know who Charlie Cox was. And now... And Zawe Ashton hadn't really. That was
just
kind
for
of
the
like,
viewers.
Yeah.
What has she been in?
Well, just recently she was in the Marvels. So she's also now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I hadn't really seen her in anything else.
And then what is Charlie Cox in?
He is Daredevil.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
They're all like making their way into the Marvel world now, but. Obviously, Tom Hiddleston was the most known. So
very much so.
Very much so. So me and my sister went to go see the show, obviously because of Tom Hiddleston. And we watched the show, and then I don't usually do this, but we left right before the last scene.
Okay, so you didn't even see the last scene.
No, but it was worth it because we got right up on the fence outside to meet them.
Yeah.
And like it was difficult. Like I was holding on to my sister and I was like, do not move. We are meeting this man.
Do not let go of me.
Do not let go of me. We are standing right here. So we got there and we got, front row, if you want to call it that, front against the fence, like being crushed. I did not care. we waited. Zawe Ashton and Charlie Cox came out, not Tom Hiddleston.
Devastation.
And, to start with. And so they were out there for like 30 minutes going back and forth, talking to everyone. And they were the sweetest people. Like Charlie Cox, and I didn't know who he was at the time. And I just hate myself for it because I wish I had been more like, oh my gosh. Cause like I watched Daredevil after the fact and like, he's awesome. Yeah. I love him. But I do have his autograph. I have all 3 autographs.
Beautiful.
But 40 minutes pass and they finally bring Tom Hiddleston out by himself.
Yeah.
They take the others back in.
They probably did that on purpose.
Right. I think they have to.
Yeah.
Because everyone just goes crazy.
Yeah.
And like he took his time. Like you wait and he comes along the whole front row, talks to everyone, signs their things, like takes a picture with them. So he finally got to us and like I just like fumble. I'm like, because he's like tall. He's like 6'2".
He's tall, handsome.
And it's just so intimidating. And he's so professional. He's like, hello, how are you? That sort of thing.
That British accent. I forget that he is British, even though,
oh my gosh,
like he doesn't hide it in anything he's in.
No, but you forget.
But I forget because
it's the Tom Hiddleston voice, not.
It's the Tom effect. You
yeah,
know?
You're just like. So that's what it was like. Oh, I froze. I think I asked him. Yes, I was like, I think I asked him, what's your favorite Loki quote? Which is so embarrassing.
You must be so embarrassed.
I turned red after I asked it. And I can't even remember his answer. Like, I wanted to say.
Literally.
Like, because it was something like I was not expecting. I was like, what? So, like, it was something, but because I think he also said, like, oh, I'm burdened with glorious purpose is a good one. But there's this one he says, and he waxed poetic. Yeah. He just like became poetic all of a sudden and said whatever it was. And I was like, cool. But he signed our things and then we got a picture with him. But the first picture we took was blurry. And so Shayna, my sister, was like, oh crap, like it's blurry. We got a picture with him and it's blurry.
Yeah.
And so he did his sweep.
You're probably shaking.
Because you're shaking and you do it so fast because you're worried like they got to move on. And so he goes back and then he comes back down to our end and we're like, hey. And I said, this is also so embarrassing. I said, Mr. Hiddleston. What else do you call him?
Tom.
Did you say Tom?
You just say Tom.
No.
So
when
respectful.
you meet him, you say Mr. Hiddleston.
He deserves the utmost respect.
I was so scared. But anyway, I said,
I loved him.
I know. So I loved him. I was so scared. We were like, hey, like, would you mind getting another picture with us? Ours is blurry. And he was like, yeah, no problem. And so he takes it and then he's like, all right, everyone, I'm really sorry, but I really need to go. So, like, we were the last ones. He retook the
2 pictures.
Yes, and we were the last ones. Anyway.
That's beautiful. Someone out there hates you because they were like, those stupid people, they already got their picture, and then he was only taking one more picture, and then I didn't get my picture with him.
But the whole thing was embarrassing, but it was awesome.
Well, yeah.
It's just like you don't know what to say because you have like one chance to say something to this person.
And you got to go quick.
What do you say? So I was like, why not go ahead and get all the information about the actual Loki from Norse mythology, of whom Loki in the movies is based off of.
Why not?
Because I think people know about him, but they don't know all the details because mythology in itself is absolutely wild.
Well, and it's like, wow, I really like...
You gotta get your breath.
And it's like, it's also the matter of like, what am I trying to say here? Everybody... I feel like there's a lot of misinformation about it too because everybody like hears one thing and then they're like, did you know this? And then it's like, that's not actually what people thought.
And like some of the stuff in the movie isn't actually like what happened.
Well, that's because it's Hollywood,
right? And it's Marvel, so they take their own lore, which is totally fine. I'm not saying like, oh, they got it wrong. That's not really what I'm saying. It's just like the difference.
Yeah.
And like that people don't realize what he is or who he is. So I have a quiz question for you.
Oh boy.
Okay.
I was never very good at those.
Oh, also 2 disclaimers really fast. My pronunciations are gonna suck. Like I looked them up, but there were like Icelandic and Norwegian like Norse ways to say them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't say that. Like there's like trills and like things that like obviously not my language.
It's your dialect.
Right. So
it is what it is.
It's gonna be very Americanized. So before anyone
comes for me.
Yeah. Being like, that's not how you say it. I'm sorry. I am trying my best. And then also there are, like I said before, there are many versions of certain gods in mythology. So sometimes they switch or sometimes there's speculations like this goddess may be the same as this goddess, but we're not really sure. So we separate them.
Okay.
So sometimes like I've tried to keep with one throughout the story, but if that information, if you look it up, sometimes it could be like Freg or Freya. They're two different, but sometimes it replaces them.
It's like,
So just know that if that gets confusing, that's why. And then also, if I get any of my mythology mixed up, I'm sorry. I'm trying. The stories are crazy.
We're not professionals.
I'm not a historian. That's what I'm going to say right now. So my quiz question, you'll be okay. Okay. Who is Loki's biological father in Norse mythology? Biological, gave birth, him and his wife. Gave birth to Loki. All right.
They both gave birth
gave birth to Loki.
His father?
You never know. No. Okay. Do I need to explain this to you? Do I need to explain? I might have to, actually, with Loki. But, okay. So who is Loki's biological father in Norse mythology? 1, Narfi or Narvi.
I'm so glad you're giving me options.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to. 2, Farbeti. 3, Laufey. 4, Odin.
Odin.
Wrong. I'm so glad you got it wrong. Now,
you failed.
You failed. No, I'm just saying if you got it right, I'd be like, there's nothing for me to teach you now.
Darn it.
Well, darn it.
I only said Odin because that's what it is. I figured it probably wasn't.
Right.
But wasn't he adopted in the movies?
Yes.
Okay,
yes. So trick question.
Really
trick question. I mean,
Trickster. You tricked me.
I did. I'm a little trickster goddess, or whatever you want to say.
Hey.
Well, yes. And obviously, there's a lot of mythology within the Marvel universe itself, and I have not read the comics. But the reasons why we know about Loki, don't snooze yet, okay? Don't. It will get more interesting.
I'm not snoozing.
Is something called the Prose Edda by Snorri Sturluson. Isn't that a fun name? Snorri Sturluson.
That's
yes.
That is one of the dwarfs.
Isn't that
from Snow White? Sleepy became an author.
Snorri.
Sleepy became an author and said, I'm going to go by Snorri.
So this book, the Prose Edda, written by Snorri, one of the dwarves, is the greatest source for Norse mythology that we have. It's written in about the 13th century. So we're talking about...
so way
1220 CE. Yeah, 1220. So it's a collection of books. It's
what does CE mean?
It means how there's BC before Christ. CE is post Christ. It means circa era. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get that wrong. I think it's
okay. I thought it was
common
AD.
era. It is in the Christian sense. There's two terms. They changed it because they thought it was they thought it was too Christianized.
Okay.
So BCE is before common era, I believe now. And we think of it as before Christ.
So post Christ.
Common era. I think it's common era or something like that. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I didn't look that up. But essentially
I'm throwing you off your game here.
I know. I'm gonna have to get really historical here. But so think of it as after Christ, but we're thinking 1220. So it's this book, the Prose Edda, but it's split into 3 books, and it has all these myths and mythology written in it. And
a trilogy, if you
yes, exactly. And then that one's called the Prose Edda, and then there's the Poetic Edda, which is also another source, but that one's anonymous. We don't know who wrote it. It's either a lot of authors or one author, and it's a collection of poems. Okay. So these are the 2 big ones where we get all these stories from. So
also, I just really quick to side note say that Hannah appropriately dressed today.
You didn't mention it yet.
And she is wearing a Loki sweatshirt as she should,
and the sleeve says God of Mischief. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I don't think the other sleeve has anything.
It doesn't. But she's really on theme.
And it's really faded now, but it's the time variant. So it's actually from the show.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Because he's in his little suit. As you can see, not his cool leather.
Not his cool leather.
I know.
He's in his suit. I know. But I just had to throw that one in there.
Yes, thank you for that. I forgot. I was like, when is she going to mention this? And then I completely forgot about it. So now, okay. His father. So Loki's heritage. I'm going to do a little General Hospital here.
Do a little General Hospital.
For those of you who don't know what General Hospital is.
Go
ahead, tell. It's a soap opera?
Soap opera, thank you. It's a soap opera, and it is wild.
This person's married to this person.
It comes on at 2:00 every day, and every day at 2:00 we watch it while we work and eat our lunch.
Yeah. There's affairs, there's
there's so many
everyone's
affairs.
married to
so many affairs. Sunny has kids with this person, and this person. This person's his daughter, and her sister is dating his son. but her sister isn't his daughter, and it's just wacky,
So,
wild, crazy.
That's what I felt like when I was reading the mythology. I was like, okay, wait, who's this person? Who's that person? So Loki is not just a god.
Oh.
As you know, in the movie, which is interesting, I believe they say it Laufey in the movie. Laufey. When I looked it up, they said it was Laufey. So it's confusing. It's spelled like Laufey. So in the movie, if you remember, do you remember the blue giant with like the reddish eyes, I think? You know how Loki turns blue, like he's a frost giant?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you not watch Thor? Okay.
I did watch Thor.
It's been a
Don't
long
come
time.
for me. Don't come for me. I watched Thor. It's just been about 5 years, okay? Like,
but you know that he's adopted.
yeah, I know he's adopted. And I know that they went to the one place that he's from.
Yes, that's what it is, Jotunheim.
Okay.
So he is from this place, Jotunheim, and he's a Jotun, which is a giant, technically.
In the movie.
Yes, in the movie, as well as in Norse mythology.
Oh,
he is a Jotun, and he is from Jotunheim. And they say it differently. And when I was looking it up, it was like Jotunheim. And I was like, I'm not going to say that because in the movie they say Jotunheim. So I don't want to.
Know what I mean.
Yeah, they know what I mean. But anyway, so his father in the movie is Laufey. I believe they say it. He's a blue, like, frost giant. Okay.
With
and
red
Loki,
eyes.
yes. And Loki ends up killing him later on to save his mom. But
Got mommy issues there too.
yes, he does. He has mom, daddy issues. All you want to say.
All the issues.
All the issues. But in the movie, but in mythology, Laufey is his mom, not his dad.
Oh.
His dad is the guy Farbeti, which is where I threw you off because that.
See, you said Farbeti, and I thought I thought fart baby.
Fart baby.
Fart
exactly.
baby.
Like, it can't be that one.
It's not fart baby.
It's not fart baby. That can't be his dad, but it is.
Yeah.
Farbeti, I believe is how you say it. Like I said, it looks like Farbauti, like because it has like a U in it, but the pronunciation was Farbeti. So, movie, dad, Laufey.
Okay.
In actual mythology, mom is Laufey.
And fart baby is dad.
And fart baby is dad.
Okay.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know me.
Her telling history is the best thing ever.
Literally, I come up with different names for people. So what? Who is it?
Oh gosh, I just forgot.
The fuzzy gophers.
The fuzzy. Oh.
The Visigoths?
The Visigoths.
Visigoths. Okay. I hear that. I say the fuzzy gophers.
The fuzzy gophers? Because I was trying to explain it to you. I say the Visigoths, and you said, the fuzzy gophers.
Literally. I can't. It's just, I don't know. It's a weird pronunciation, so I just make up two words that sound like it. So,
right.
That's going to happen a lot. Get ready for it.
Odin, in Norse mythology, is Loki's blood brother. So not actually related. Odin.
Oh, I thought you meant like blood related.
No,
brother.
Not actually related. So blood brother is essentially you make a pact. Like
it's when you slit your hands and then you shake hands.
And I don't think like necessarily in
brothers.
this sense like it was when they like slit their hands and put it together, but it's like they made a pact together, so like they fought together, so they're blood brothers. Odin, not Thor.
So Odin is Thor's dad, right? They got that right.
No.
Oh my goodness.
No.
What even?
Oh yes, sorry. Oh my gosh. Odin is Thor's dad. Yes, you're right.
Not Loki's.
Not Loki's. I got confused.
Odin is Thor's dad.
I was like, Thor.
So technically, Loki is Thor's uncle.
Yeah.
Blood uncle.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So not even. Yeah, you're right. You're like, wait, did they at least get right that Thor? Yes. Excuse me. I thought you were saying Loki again. Yes. Odin is Thor's dad. But Odin has a lot of other children that they don't talk about.
Well, yeah.
So,
he was a god, so he had to.
And that's another thing.
Marvin Gaye, get it on.
That's why it gets confusing because Frigg, which is also, I believe they may say Frigg in the movie. I don't remember how they say it.
Frigg, I
think. And I looked it up and they said Frigg in like the Icelandic tongue or whatever. So I was like, ooh. So either way, that's actually Odin's wife. So they got that correct. And then there's this other goddess, Freya. And so those are the two that they like get confused on because Freya is also one of Odin's lovers and also his concubine supposedly. But in some of the myths, they replace them with being the same person, but they're not.
Okay.
So it's like kind of confusing. They're like, it could be that she was this, but we're pretty sure they're two separate.
Okay.
We think because they have kind of two different stories going on. So I'm going to say that they're two different people. But so he's married to Frigg, and Loki also has a wife. Sigyn is her name, and he also has a mistress, Angerbauda. So Loki also has 2 wives going on, and Odin has like 2 wives going on.
So Loki's married to Biggie Smalls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sigyn. Loki is married to Sigyn.
Pippin.
We're never gonna. This is the first topic. We're not gonna get through this. I told you this got a little General Hospital. I'm not joking.
So Loki's married to Biggie Smalls.
Yes.
And then his also, mistress is
Angerbauda.
Angry
Bauda.
Angry Buddha.
Angerbauda. Now.
So Biggie Smalls.
Yes.
Angry Buddha.
Yes. And so the most significant kids, he may have more, Loki, but we're gonna stick with some of the basics. So he has 1 kid by Sigyn, and he's either Nari or Narvi. It's like he also changed his names.
Okay.
He's not important. They don't really care about him.
Nobody cares.
He was like
Loki's son. Get out of here.
However, with his mistress, good kids. Angerbodo.
What?
Okay. Yeah. He loves his kids.
Angry
from her.
Buddha has good
because
kids.
You want to know why? She was, I think, I try to remember.
They said get Biggie Smalls jeans out of here.
Yeah. I think she was a giantess, whereas Sigyn was a goddess. So the kind of he's got like
so she's a giant.
Right.
So recap. Loki is married.
Yes.
But has a mistress.
Yes.
His wife's children, get them out of here.
Get them out.
Trash, garbage.
Trash, whatever.
And his mistress's children, wonderful. And Loki is not Odin's son, but his blood brother.
Yes. Those are the important things.
Okay.
And his children, we're going to say great. That's a loose term, but like, he liked them.
Mm-hmm.
There was Hel, goddess of the underworld. Not Hela, like in the movie.
Well, how original.
Hel.
How'd they come up with that
How did we come up with that? Only 1 L, though, so pretty original.
Okay.
Hel, she was the goddess of the underworld. Odin sent her there. He said, you go rule this place. Because Odin was like, don't like the children. I don't know why.
So Hel is with Angry Buddha or Biggie Smalls?
Angry Buddha.
Okay.
These are the children that he had with his mistress.
Okay,
because he likes them.
These are the good ones.
Then we have Jormungandr.
Oh, no.
He's Jormungandr. He is a snake. He's a big giant snake that they send to the sea.
So, herbivore is a snake. Okay.
Yeah, herbivore is a snake. And then we have Fenrir, who's a wolf. Big wolf.
Fenrir. Okay, I can do that one.
You can do that one?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we have Sleipnir. That's a random child. We'll talk about him. Not with Angerboda. We'll talk about him later. Okay? Forget him.
Okay.
Forget him for right now.
Is it with Biggie Smalls?
It's with a horse. So we'll get to that. Felina. Okay, since we're talking about all these weird things,
she was too stunned to speak.
She was too stunned to speak, but let's talk about that for a second. Loki's a shapeshifter. He is a Jotun from Jotunheim, which is one of the 9 worlds in Norse mythology. Do you remember in Thor where he's like showing the tree?
All the realms, yeah.
Okay, so Jotun is one of those, okay? And then Asgard is another and all that. So he's a Jotun and he's from Jotunheim, but he's also a shapeshifter, which means he can change appearance, gender, and species.
Okay.
So this is why he has all these children, because he can shapeshift, so he can kind of be anything. In the movie, they kind of portray him as like he can like put out more projections of himself.
Yeah.
But he can do more than that in Norse mythology. He can be any sort of animal. He can change gender. He can be a woman.
Snake.
Yeah. So he can be a horse, a falcon, a flea, a fly, a salmon, like all these things he does. And we'll talk about some of them, okay, when he becomes those things. It's very crazy. And then side note, Snorri, remember him? Sturluson?
Yeah.
Snorri Sturluson, the guy who wrote the the Prose Edda. It's so confusing. There's Poetic Edda and Prose Edda.
It's fine.
So the Prose Edda, he called Loki, beautiful to look upon, evil in spirit, very fickle in habit. So Tom Hiddleston, right?
Yeah.
Tom,
basically, yeah.
Now, the
he's
Loki,
not evil.
The Loki in the movies is a little bit more lovable.
Yes.
He's kind of, and he is in Norse mythology too. He's like between, kind of like out for himself. And later on in the movies and in the show, not to give any spoilers, but he redeems himself. And that's kind of what like the whole mythology is about. Like he'll mess crap up. And then he'll fix it himself.
Yeah.
So he is that way in mythology, but he's a lot more lovable in the movies, and he has a little bit of a redeeming end. In mythology, not to give any spoilers, not the case.
In mythology, he sucked, dude.
They didn't worship him. They were like, he didn't embody what Norse mythology thought of as like a hero, like a god hero, like Thor. He was very...
In real life, he was the devil.
Yeah, he was... Now they were
To
fat.
quote
Right.
Adam Sandler's Waterboy, little girls are the devil.
Little girl's the devil. So he is considered a god, but like his lineage, like I said before, is like giant god, whatever. And it's kind of crazy that they considered him a god because he's kind of nuts because they hate him.
Yeah.
Kind of like they end up like hating him, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So his name is like kind of considered. They were like trying to figure out what Loki meant, and so they came up with knot or tangle.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah.
So that's kind of like what the consensus is. Because he's kind of playing this game between the gods, giants, so he's always creating this web of mischief.
Makes sense.
Very chaotic. And the funny thing is also that I found in my studies is that it's thought that his looks were red hair and red beard.
Well, he just became less attractive.
Oh, so anyone out there? No, just kidding. Felina, apparently that's not her type.
The red beard is fine. My husband has a red beard. But...
Yeah. No, it says that he was beautiful though, so you don't know.
Well, maybe he was. I think red hair. I think Ed Sheeran, and I'm
Right.
sorry. I'm sorry, Ed, but
not the looks for you.
Type. It's not
the
my
look.
type.
But I thought that was so funny because they literally went like dark hair and stuff and like
it's
sleek,
Hollywood,
very sleek face, right?
It's
obviously,
Hollywood.
But like obviously it's mythology, so you can kind of do what you want. Now the stories about Loki, I'm gonna kind of tell them in my own words because it'll be more fun.
Yeah,
but essentially, it's what happened.
If you listen to us tell it, you get Biggie Smalls and an angry Buddha.
Anger Buddha. So I apologize in advance, but let's start out with him playing a little mischief with Thor's wife. Now, do you want to guess who Thor's wife is?
I couldn't even tell you.
Not Jane.
He doesn't have a wife.
Her name is Sif. She is in the movie. If you remember, she's like one of the.
Is that
friends.
the warrior person?
The black hair. I like her in the movie.
I like her too.
Yeah, but apparently that was his wife in the in actual mythology.
She's a bad booty.
Right,
you know?
right. But apparently she has this really beautiful hair. Okay, it's long blonde, and Loki just walking by and sees her sleeping, and he's like, you know what would be so funny if I cut off her hair, all of it.
Oh.
So everything that Loki does like starts out with this little like I'm gonna like trick them. I'm gonna.
Does he just give her a cute little bob, or does he like shave her head?
I think he like cuts it all off because Thor finds out and he's pissed.
I would be too.
I mean, yeah, can you imagine?
I would be pissed
Because apparently she's like known for this really pretty hair. So he does it, and so Loki's like, "Hey, listen, Thor, I know you're mad. Okay, hey, buddy, I know you're mad, but I'm gonna go and find the black elves, who are this other race with the dwarves, giants, and I believe they live on Jotunheim as well." He's like, "I'm gonna go find them."
I think
yeah, because I think they're a Dark World. That one kind of like is a little hazy in my mind, but I know they are elves, and I can't remember what kind. But in mythology, they're called black elves. He's like, I'm gonna go to these people. They're gonna make a headdress or like a wig, I guess, for her. She's gonna be cool, okay? And Thor's like, you better.
Could you just shaved her? You scalped my wife.
She's so beautiful. Not anymore. So he goes to Jotunheim, I believe. Hopefully, not getting that mixed up. But there were two different variations here. One was like he went to find the black elves, but he found these dwarves. Okay. So we're going to say he's actually with the dwarves. Okay. So he's like, can you make this for her? So they do. So they make it this beautiful out of gold, I guess, for her. This, I don't know how they do that. I guess it's like, they make gold like threads or something. Yeah. I'm not really sure. So they make a wig out for her or a headdress.
It's a heavy wig.
It must be. Now, I don't know if it like, there might be some variations there. Like it wasn't really gold. It might've been, something else, but I read one that was like gold. So I'm going with that cause it's cool. And then they also made some other artifacts just for the heck of it. I think one was like, I don't remember exactly. One was like an animal. It was like a boar or something that could do something. And then another one was like a ship that you could fold up super small.
What is a boar?
Like a big pig. Like a wild pig with...
I just wanted to make sure I was thinking of the same thing.
I think that's what it was. I may be wrong.
Okay.
But then they made a ship that you can fold up super small. And it said like you could carry it in a pocket. So I guess you could carry it with you. I know. So they were just like... He was like, can you make this headdress? And then I guess they just started showing off. They were like, we can make this. We can
pop
make this.
Off, dwarves.
Yeah. So he's like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to see if... And then he goes find these other two dwarf brothers. And he's like, hey, these guys made this crap. Mm-hmm. Can you do better? And they were like... Yeah, can we do better?
Totally we can.
Whatever. And so they start making stuff. And Loki, for some reason, is like, I'm going to mess with them. Turns into a fly. and just starts biting them as they're making stuff.
Well, that's very rude.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why. I guess he's just trying to distract them.
Because he's the god of mischief.
Yeah, he's just like, I want to play some mischief with these guys. We might have to cut that out. Anyway.
Nope.
Nope, going into the podcast. Anyway, so this is the part where he turns into a fly and just messes with them, even though he's like the one having them make this stuff.
Yeah.
So he's started this competition between these two groups of dwarves.
Right.
For some reason. He just wants to cause trouble.
Just because it's fun.
Yeah. So they're
he
like,
did just scalp a woman.
right. He did just scalp a woman. So, but he's finding other ways to get in trouble. So they're like, of course we can do better. So they make, I think it's, they make this like, what was it? They make these rings that can like, they make this ring that like splits into like so many other rings.
Okay.
Yeah, which doesn't seem that cool to me, but apparently it was really cool. Maybe they're the ones that make the boar. Anyway, one's a super cool animal, one's a ring, but the last one is most important. Okay.
Okay.
The last item they make is Mjolnir. Mjolnir. You know that name, right? Thor's hammer.
Jonathan?
What?
Have you not seen that?
Jonathan.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's Paul Rudd, who, oh my gosh, I love Paul Rudd.
Yes,
I want to be
Paul
his
Rudd.
best friend. But it's fine. It's never going to happen. It's okay.
Paul Rudd, if you're listening, Felina wants to be your best friend.
So Paul Rudd, they were asking the whole cast of like one of the Avengers movies. Mm-hmm. They were like, can you name, what is the name of Thor's hammer? And they're all like, and then Paul Rudd is like, Jonathan?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Jonathan?
Okay, so Jonathan.
Mimi, Mjolnir. Mjolnir. So
they make Jonathan.
Now, if I'm remembering from memory, because some of this I am, like, taking from my notes and some from memory, essentially these dwarves go back to Asgard with Loki, and they're like, okay, which of these is the best? Mm-hmm. And Loki's like, they're going to choose the other dwarves because, I told them that you guys couldn't do any better, so you're not going to do any better. But of course they choose Mjolnir because they gift it to Thor. And so Loki's like, oop, I got to get out of here because they're like looking for his head. So that's one of the first things he did. But it's so interesting to me because like in everything that happens, like Loki is like almost the main, like he's the guy that gets all these big things to happen in Norse mythology. Like
he's causing all the trouble.
He's causing all the trouble, but he's also like, here's Mjolnir, which is one of like the most important like artifacts in Norse mythology. Okay. So even though the dwarves made it. So at some point, this is story number 2. This one reminds me of something that would happen in the movies because it's like very like Thor and Loki-ish. Okay. Mm-hmm. So this guy, I'm going to say this wrong. He also has like 3 variations of his name. I think it's Thyrim.
Okay.
It's Thyrm, so I don't know. Okay. He steals Mjolnir at some point, okay, and buries it deep in the earth, okay? No. And obviously, Thor...
Into the earth,
like leagues like into
earth,
the earth. Well, okay. I mean, like, it said the earth, but I think it means like Midgard, like the Norse earth, if that makes sense. Okay. So he's like, I'm not going to give it back unless I can marry Freya. And Freya...
is his mom.
Freyja is his mom, but Freya is the concubine, like the lover. Oh. And I'm telling you, they get confusing because they are exchanged sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, okay, is it Freyja or is it Freya? It says Freya in this case. And they all love her. They're like, oh, she's great. But that's not an option. You're not going to marry her.
Yeah.
So Heimdall, you recognize that name. Heimdall, he's the Watcher, played by Idris Elba.
Yeah.
You know who he is. Yeah. But he's a god.
The goat guy?
Yeah. Yes.
Isn't he a goat? Yeah.
A goat?
Isn't he part goat? Or does he wear rams, like golden ram?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think he wears the helmet, right?
Yeah, the helmet.
Yeah, I was like, he's a goat guy. Anyways, yes, Heimdall. So he suggests like, well, Thor, why don't you go dressed up as a woman, as Freya, so that you can get it back? But he thinks, he thinks you're coming as Freya. So he is like, okay, cool. And
surprise, shorty.
And Thor, this is so Thor. He's like, no, man, that's so unmanly. I'm not doing that.
Right, because he's a man.
He literally is like, no, that's so unmanly. And Loki's like, you want your hammer back or not?
Yeah.
Or are you gonna just like let them come in here and invade our land?
Yeah.
And this guy that took the hammer is apparently a giant from Jotunheim as well.
Okay.
They're always playing mischief with each other.
So Jotunheim is just the bad place.
Yeah, the bad place where Loki's from. Yep. So Thor's finally like, okay, fine, I'll go do it. I want my hammer back. So they dress him up as a woman. They put a little gown on him. They put a little veil, like, like he's going to get married. And so Loki goes as his like handmaid, I guess, like, his little lady in waiting or whatever you call them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they get there and the guy's like, cool. I don't remember how to say his name. Thrime or something. He's like, yay, come have dinner. And so Thor goes in and he's like chomping down, like stuffing his face. And giant guy to Loki is like, is there something wrong with her? Cause like she's eating a lot.
Yeah.
She is
because she is a he.
Yeah. And Loki's like, no. Like, she's been so excited to get here that she's been fasting for 8 days. So she's just like mad hungry. She's
so hungry.
Yeah. And he's like, okay. So then they're going on, they're eating, they're drinking. So the giant guy gets a little tipsy. So he like lifts up her veil, like to go kiss her. And he sees her eyes and they're like really angry and mad and like hard. And he's like, dude, there's like, he says to Loki, he's like, dude, there's something wrong with her eyes. Like, this is weird. Like,
how did he not tell it was Thor?
I know. You think he'd have like a beard or anything like that? Well, they gave him like her necklace and like zhuzhed him up. Maybe they like put some magic. I don't know. That's speculation.
Maybe
they put some magic on him or something, so he looks a little bit more womanly. But he's like, something's wrong. Something's off with her. And Loki's like, nah, man, she's good. She just was so excited to get here. She didn't sleep for 8 days. And so the guy's finally like, that tracks.
Right.
So he believes them and goes and gets the hammer. Like, okay, now we can start the marriage. And then Thor grabs the hammer and kills everyone there. Kills them off.
Yeah.
All of them, even the guy.
Murder.
So he's just like, yeah, that makes sense. Believes them. So they get the hammer back. So I thought that was like
that's fun.
That's a very Loki and Thor.
It reminds me of the one where he like get help.
Right.
In the movies.
Right.
No, we're not doing get help.
No, we're not doing get help. Exactly. That's why I was like, that's very much like
yeah.
And like that part in the movie where Loki's talking about how he turns into a snake. And Thor's like, I love snakes. I was so mad at you. Because you jumped out and was like, ah, and it was Loki. That story cracks me up. So that was very much like, okay, that's like Thor and Loki.
Yeah.
But like they were not even brothers. So it's kind of, now I did read one that it was like they were also blood brothers, but I only read that once. So
okay.
I don't know if it's actually true.
So it's confusing.
Yeah, it is very confusing. Okay, so I have a few more fun stories where he turns into different animals. The first one we have is a flea. And so supposedly Freya, who's the concubine, the other lover of Odin, she's doing her own thing and she sees these dwarves making a necklace that she totally falls in love with. She's like, I love that necklace.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yes, I have to have it. Exactly. So she asked the dwarves about the necklace and they're like, this is going to be above PG-13. No, just kidding. Well, kind of. But they're like, okay, you can have the necklace if you sleep with all of us.
She does it, doesn't she?
Yeah. She's like, chill, cool.
That hussy.
Can you believe that? I mean, how many were there? Like, you can have this necklace if you
sleep with every one of us.
Every one of us.
Gosh.
So she does it.
You're married to Odin, chica.
Well, I mean, she's kind of married to him, I guess. It's very confusing. I'm like, is she married to him or not? Because it's Freya.
Yeah.
But everyone loves her, so of course she does it. And Loki tells Odin about it. He's like, Freya got this necklace from the dwarves by sleeping with them.
That her payment was her self.
And I don't know why he cares. Like, Loki just like wants to cause trouble between all these people.
He likes the mischief.
And so he's like, hey, she did this. And Odin's like, I don't believe you. Prove it by getting the necklace for me. And Loki's like, okay. So he turns into a flea and crawls into her room. And she's sleeping with the necklace, of course, because she's obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And of course she's sleeping in a way that he can't get to it.
Right.
So he's like, ugh, and he tries to get it from her. And so then he goes and he bites her cheek as a flea. Yeah, bites her cheek. And then she like turns over.
Yeah.
And then he gets the necklace and he takes it back to Odin.
As a flea.
That's what I was
Believable.
Like, how does the flea carry it?
You just, here's what I'm picturing. I'm picturing Loki hands, real hands, and a flea body.
Oh my gosh. And he just like, I mean, I guess he could have turned back into the person, but then he would have had to get out again.
Yeah.
And also she probably had guards, right? So like he probably had to stay a flea the whole time. So like how did he do that?
How did they not see a necklace flying?
Right. Just like across the floor.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
I don't know.
Do fleas don't fly, do they?
Yeah.
Fleas fly?
Yeah, I
thought they jumped.
Maybe they do jump.
Okay, flies fly.
They do
right?
Jump. They jump
that I know.
They jump really far.
So another giant comes along who wants to marry Freya. Everyone wants to marry Freya.
She must be like,
I know, she must be
the it girl.
Yeah. She must be gorgeous. But he comes along and he's like, I want to marry her, and I also want the moon and the sun. I don't know why.
How can you own the moon and the sun?
I mean, How do you be a fly? Flea.
That's more believable than having ownership
owning
over the moon and
right,
the sun.
right.
I feel like.
This is mythology, so I don't know, man. But so the gods are like, well, okay, like if you build this like wall / fortress around our place to protect us by the beginning of summer, first day of summer, then like you can marry her, because apparently that was like an impossible task. Like you can't finish it by this time, surely. Right. And he's like, okay, that's cool, as long as my horse here can help me build. And they're like,
how can a horse help build?
I do not know.
Okay.
I do not know. That's why I was like,
opposable thumbs?
he's like got his hooves.
Yeah,
He's just like, maybe he's magic. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I'm assuming he must be magic.
Maybe, yeah.
Because they're like, oh, that doesn't seem to be a problem. Go ahead. He can help you. But apparently this horse is like a regular Bob the Builder. And he's like, he's getting it done.
He has the opposable thumbs.
Yeah. Like he's about to get this done. And the gods are like, oh, shoot, man. We're going to have to let Freya marry him.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, Loki, come here. They're like, can you do something?
Hey, Loki, we need you.
We need you. And Loki's like, yeah, cool. So what he decides to do is become a mare, a female horse.
Yes.
And lure the other horse with his charms to distract him.
Now, wait a
dang
minute.
Female horse.
He's a female horse. Mm-hmm. And there's a male horse. Mm-hmm. And they have a child.
Yes. So he distracts him so much that they produce a child.
So he had to birth a child.
Yes. So he's actually a mother as well.
Loki's a mother.
Loki's a mother. He has this horse as a mother. So he gives birth to this one, an 8-legged horse named Sleipnir. And that's his other son, Sleipnir the horse. 8-legged horse. What is your comment? You look shocked.
Loki's a mother.
Not only a father, but a mother.
So he had to stay a horse.
Yeah. I mean, this is like
for
also
months.
Yeah. I mean, he's considered a bisexual character because he
birth a child.
I'm not sure how long it took. Some of the things are like sped up in mythology, so maybe he like because there was this one time that I read like Odin had a kid and he grew up like in a day. So I'm like maybe he had it really fast, but they didn't say. So maybe he did wait however many months it takes for a horse to get born. I don't really know.
I don't know either.
But I'm like, did he just stay the horse the whole time until he gave birth to it?
Well, he would have to.
Yeah.
I would think that otherwise it would like, terminate.
Yeah, kill it. Surely he had to have it faster than that. But anyway, apparently this horse Sleipnir becomes Odin's favorite horse, so there's a plus. I guess he's just like, cool, Loki's son, you're my favorite horse. With it. Well, Odin, I don't know. I hope not. Oh. It became Odin's favorite horse. Yeah. Now Odin's having a relationship with Sleipnir. Yeah, but apparently it became like Odin's favorite horse. I'm like, what?
You said, well, I hope not.
Odin just like, why not? Okay, so there was this other story. He's always making people mad. Mm-hmm. He's kidnapped by this guy named Yahtzee. It's how you say it. It said Yahtzee. It's not spelled like that at all. It's like Thjazi. Yahtzee. So Yahtzee tells him to bring this goddess because he kidnaps Loki. And he's like, oh, in exchange, bring me this goddess named Idun or something. Mm-hmm. And Loki's like, okay. And so he does it. But then the other gods get super mad with Loki. Like, why'd you take Idun? We want her back. And he's like, fine, I'll go get her.
It's another Freya situation.
Right. He does it all the time. He's like, I want to be free. So yeah, I'll give you this person instead.
Yeah.
and then he just does it. Uh-huh. But they're like, no, you have to go back. So he goes back and he gets her and he carries her away as a falcon. So he turns into a falcon. There's another story.
Beautiful.
He's just all the time changing into something else.
Well, I would too if I could.
I know, right? What would it be like to fly?
I would turn into a cat. That way I had no responsibilities.
That would be fun.
And I could just sunbathe all day.
I mean, I know. Think of the advantages of this.
The only issue is then I'd have to eat cat food.
Yeah. But like think about also like as a woman, if you're like in a situation, you could turn into a man for a minute to be like so that no one would approach you. You know what I mean? Gorilla. Why would you turn into a gorilla?
If you
to, like beat people up?
If you were, yeah.
Oh, that's true.
It's self-defense. Guess what? I'm a gorilla.
She's
now.
Like, forget being a man.
forget man. Because what if they're bigger than I am?
That's true.
I could turn into a gorilla.
I could turn into a gorilla and be like,
I'll be a shark.
Okay.
A tiger.
I know. It would be fun. Like, yeah, I feel like, why does he choose a flea and a fly? I mean, I guess that's like convenient in some instances, but I'm like, why would you turn into that?
A flea is inconspicuous. They won't see him.
Yeah, that's true.
A fly on the wall.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. Okay, so then obviously he carries her back as a falcon.
Here's my question.
Yes, go ahead.
Hold on. Here's my question. Say he's trying to like do some spy work, okay?
Yeah.
He wants to be in the room, okay? So he turns into a fly on the wall, and someone knows that he can turn into a fly, and they're suspicious of this fly, so they kill it.
Yeah.
Does he die, or does he just transform back in? Like if they squash this fly, does he get squashed, or does he turn back into a human form?
I think he would,
because that leaves you very vulnerable.
Well, I wonder if he dies and then turns back into a human form, but he's dead. I mean, it has to kill him, right?
Or does it just eliminate the magic?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. Research for next time. I do not have the answer to that. But
if you know that, let us know.
Yeah, if you know that, I am super impressed.
Yeah.
Well, because I think that, like, because even in time travel, if you get killed, like, your other version gets killed, right?
Well, yeah. Well, because you're physically traveling.
Right. So, like, is it the same thing?
Yeah. That's what I want to know.
But he is another creature. But I would assume he would die.
That leaves you too vulnerable. Because if you're a flea and someone steps on you,
you're dead.
You're dead.
That's what I'm like. Well, he's got to, like, only do it for like a little bit of time.
There's got to be some sort of protection.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, I'm assuming like the giant is like a giant falcon, but like I guess the flea is tiny because he bit her cheek, so he's like on her cheek. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, well, because he can't be a giant flea because that would give it away. Anyway. So, obviously, giant guy Yahtzee is pissed, and he goes back to Asgard following him, and then all the gods kill Yahtzee, okay?
Beautiful.
Now, Yahtzee has a daughter, Skadi, I think her name is.
Scotty.
Not spelled like that, but everything sounds like, I was like, just say it like Scotty. Scotty is so mad that they killed her dad. So she comes to Asgard and is like, I'm going to take revenge on all of you if you guys don't make me laugh.
Well, okay.
Okay, and they're like, okay, or if you guys can make me laugh, then I'll give this all up, because apparently she thought, I'm so mad that I'm not gonna laugh at anything. So they're like, oh, we got the perfect man for this.
And Loki.
Yeah, of course.
Who's the reason that her dad is dead.
And that's what I'm saying.
She's not gonna laugh.
Yeah, like he is like against the gods and he's for the gods, like all the time, and he always causes mischief, but then he gets them out of it. So it's like, they kind of have like a love-hate relationship with him, I think.
Right.
Because it's like, well, he can help us. So he's like, okay, don't worry, I got this. So he gets a little goat, and then he takes his own little genitals. I don't know why I said little. His genitals. He ties a rope to his genitals, and then ties a rope to the goat's beard. So like the hair on the goat's chin. Ties it, and then they sit there and they like pull back and forth, and while they're both like yelling in pain and like messing around. And apparently this is so funny. And and Loki falls over into Scotty's lap, and she starts laughing. And it's like, okay, just kidding. You guys made me laugh. So I'm not going to revenge my father. I would
see that, and I'd be like,
ew. I would be so scared.
Horrified.
Right? Apparently she thought it was hysterical. And I think that's just so funny. Like, I don't know if I would have accepted this as retribution for my father's death.
I think that I probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
I would have probably been like, death to Loki.
Right? And it's funny because in all these instances, they're like...
if he fell in her lap, then she could have ended it right then and there.
Yeah, that's true.
And then she's like, okay, I'm good now, bye.
In one source that I read, also, she got a husband from them. So maybe that made up for it. But like, she thought that this was going to be impossible for them to do. And that's what it's always like. It's like they make up something and like they're not going to be able to do this.
And then they do it.
So, all right. So now to get to the big story that brings about the end, which is also has some funny stuff in it, but it's a little crazy. So Thor has another brother, Baldur, who is Odin's son. So he is like...
So they hate Loki
because
like
of this son. I think... Not a half son, sorry. He's Odin's son, but he's Thor's half-brother, I believe.
So probably came from one of his concubines.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So, actually, no. Baldur is Odin's son and also Freyg's son. So, Thor's brother.
Okay.
So, Baldur is having these dreams of his death.
Okay.
And Freyg being like, I don't want my son to die. This is really freaking me out. I think she tells Odin because she's also having dreams about it. Oh. Yeah. And Odin's like, he gets a hold of this creature that can prophesy. I don't know how to pronounce the name, and I forgot to write it down. Anyway, too many names anyway.
Yeah.
But essentially, this creature also prophesizes, or being, or whatever it is. Yeah, he's going to die. So Freyg, being the protective mom that she is like, okay, everything in the world, anything, any living thing, any an inanimate object, whatever, promise to me that you won't hurt my son. So she makes everything promise, okay? Just bear with me. She makes everything promise that they're not going to hurt Baldur. Except she misses one little thing.
And that's Loki.
It's not Loki.
Oh.
It's the most obvious thing that it could be. The mistletoe. The mistletoe. She forgot this one little fella, the mistletoe.
How is mistletoe?
Exactly. She's like, not a problem, right? That's not going to hurt him. But think about it. There are other things. Did she make roses promise? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why the mistletoe?
Yeah.
So she misses this one little fella, the mistletoe. And so once she gets everything to promise that it won't hurt him, he's pretty much invincible, okay? So all the gods get together and for fun, they're like shooting arrows at him and it's like bouncing off because he can't be hurt because everything promised not to hurt him. And Loki decides, I'm going to mess with him. So Loki makes an arrow out of mistletoe.
How did he know?
He found out somewhere. I don't know that bit, but he apparently found out that his only weakness was the mistletoe.
But why did he want to kill him?
Well, I don't know that exactly, but I mean, he's kind of, I don't know. I think he's just like, I really want to mess with him. So I'm not really quite sure why he wants to kill him. I mean, he is Odin's son. And then he kind of goes back and forth with being like enemies.
But Loki's Odin's
blood brother. Yeah, true. I don't know. I don't know the motivation behind it. It was always just like he wanted to play a trick on them. I'm like, that's not really a trick.
Murder is not tricky.
I mean, I guess to Loki it is. Okay. But anyway, I don't know why he wants to hurt him. But he finds out about the mistletoe. He makes it. And then he calls, his name is Hod or Hodder. He also has, I swear, everyone has two names. He is Baldur's brother. So another brother, he's blind. So Loki's like, hey, you want to join in with the fun that the gods are all shooting at your brother? And so Hod's like, okay, cool. Yeah, sure. Because it's like, you know, all fun and games. Mm-hmm. And so he takes the arrow and some sources say he like threw the arrow at him, which I don't know what that would do anyway. But apparently...
Well, if a god is throwing it, it's probably
a lot more powerful than... Because I was like, why didn't he shoot it? Some said like a spear. Some said, I think he shot it. And some say he threw it. So I was like... So apparently he throws it, all thinking it's just going to, you know, bounce off him like everything else. But it apparently obviously stabs him in the chest. Kills him. So... And I think I read one thing where Odin got so mad that he had Hod killed. I'm like, that's not his fault. So I'm like, because he's so angry, because Baldur is another one of those guys, they love him. He's like the best god. They love him so much. And so maybe that's why Loki killed him, because he's like, you can't be loved that much.
Yeah.
So everyone's really upset that Baldur has died. Mm-hmm. So another brother, Hermod, which I think is... Hermione. Yes. Okay. Hermod, who's another brother of Baldur. There's lots of sons. He goes to the underworld.
All his daughters?
I don't know. Does Odin? Oh, I wonder if Odin has daughters. I didn't get into that. He has to, surely.
There's no way they're all males.
But apparently they're not important because they didn't mention them. So
because they're women,
probably. Sidetrack. Anyway,
typical.
He gets mad. They're all super mad. And they tie Loki up to these rocks with the entrails of his son Narvi, which is the one by his wife Sigyn. So, I mean, I don't know if he cared or what, but they took the entrails and tied him up with it, apparently, to these rocks.
So, wait, hold on.
I gotcha.
Okay. Loki gets tied up with nincompoops' entrails.
Yes, with nincompoops' entrails.
They kill him.
I guess so, yeah. To tie up Loki. They didn't go into detail about the killing.
They were just like, oh yeah, and then that happened.
And then the entrails, and I was like, okay.
What the world?
I'm gonna have to look that one up. And like I'm telling you, there's so many stories, and I was like, I wonder how this happened. But I was like, I don't have time to do all of it. So anyway, yeah, they tie him up to these rocks, and they have this big venomous snake drop poison onto him while he's there, so he's in pain. But Sigyn, who's a faithful wife.
Wait, the poison hurts him?
Well, it does toward the end. At first, Sigyn, his wife, is holding a bowl, so she's catching the poison, so it doesn't drop on him.
I'm confused as to why the poison would hurt him.
I don't know. It's just this giant snake.
Like acid?
Yeah, I guess so. It's like venomous, I guess, because it said it's painful.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure. So he's dropping poison onto him. Maybe it like burns the skin or whatever.
Maybe.
Like you said, like it's acid. She's holding a bowl most of the time, catching it because she's a faithful wife for some reason, even though he doesn't really.
Even though he doesn't care about her kids.
Yeah, and he has a mistress and like stuff like that. So Baldur, who gets shot with the arrow, he's dead. He's in the underworld with Hel, who is Loki's daughter. And so Baldur's brother, Hermod, goes to the underworld and asks Hel to bring him back from the dead. Yes. Yes. And Hel says she throws another deal, just like the other ones. If you can make everything cry for him in the world, you can have him back. And so before Loki is tied up, I forgot to mention this, everyone in the world cries for him because they miss him, except this old woman named Tok or Thok. I don't want to say that wrong. It's like really weirdly spelled. It's like Tokk and sometimes it's Thokk. Anyways, this old woman refuses to cry for him, and it is speculated that that is Loki in an old woman form. So he refuses to cry for him so that he doesn't come back from the dead. So then they tie him up with the entrails of his son.
I was about to say that old lady's like, that kid, he
cares?
wouldn't get off my lawn. I'm not crying for him. He's a heathen.
But come to find out, it's just Loki.
Loki.
Yep.
Okay.
So he doesn't cry for him, so they can't bring him back. So they're so mad, they tie him up. And then Loki finally gets free from this. And that's when Ragnarok starts.
Okay.
So he's like, I'm going to lead all my children, the 3 monster children, the snake, the wolf, and Hel, and the giants against the gods, because the gods are so mad because Baldur can't be brought back to life.
Yeah.
So this is what causes Ragnarok. So Loki literally causes Ragnarok. Not only does he get the hammer for Thor and like all these children that have done all this mayhem, and now he's bringing back Ragnarok. Yeah. So this is the battle where pretty much it's the end. Yeah. It's like, and it's thought, everything goes down. And so it's essentially the end of the world in Norse mythology. And yet it's believed that the end of the world will also bring back the earth. Like the earth will be reborn.
Okay. So it'll be like, restored.
So Loki dies. But before he dies, I believe before he dies, Jormungandr.
I was going to say your mom.
Jormungandr, the snake, kills Thor. So Loki's son kills Thor, and then Fenrir, the wolf, kills Odin. So both of Loki's children kill Odin and Thor.
What?
And then Loki is fighting Heimdall, and they kill each other.
Who is Heimdall?
So Heimdall is the guy who in the beginning I told you about. The goat guy. So they kill each other. So they're mortally wounded and they both die. So this whole battle, and all because Loki killed Baldur, is why Ragnarok happens, essentially. So the end of the world is essentially Loki's fault. And that's how it ends. And there's speculation that like when the earth is reborn in Norse mythology, that some of the gods will come back, and they're like, maybe Loki will come back. So maybe that's why it's like open to the fact of like, does Loki die or does he not?
Or does he not?
So that, my friend, is Loki. Wow. I'm so sorry.
He causes issues.
That was a lot.
I don't like him.
Oh no! I made you not like Loki?
No. Tom Hiddleston's fine.
Right.
But like
MCU, Loki is great.
Beautiful.
Like even everyone says like he's the best villain, and also he's
wonderful. He's so lovable. But like, bruh,
he's not a good guy.
He's not nice.
No.
He scalped a woman.
He scalped a woman, and he caused the end of the world.
He literally did.
Yeah. Who do you think you would be?
I think I'd be a cat goddess.
A cat goddess?
Here's the thing. I need everyone to know. I actually don't like cats.
But you're obsessed with them, apparently.
No, I'm jealous of them because they just get to sit in the sun all day and sunbathe.
Yeah, I guess if you could turn into anything you wanted as a god, I think it would be a wolf like Fenrir.
You'd be a wolf?
That'd be kind of cool.
I think I'd be a gorilla. I think it would depend on what kind of situation you're in.
All right, well, that was a lot, but I hope some of it was enjoyable for you.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was weird.
Fun. It was fun.
I was worried I was going to get too nerdy for you. So I tried to keep it in my own words because I was worried that if I got like too like
technical,
it was going to be boring. If you would have gotten
too technical, I probably would have been like,
I was trying. There's just so much. It's really hard.
There's a lot.
I didn't even say all of it, but I hope you all enjoyed it, even though it was very detailed.
So
it's crazy. It's like a soap opera.
It's wild. It really is.
It's a soap opera.
They should make a soap opera about the Greek gods, Norse gods.
All of them. It's all the same. Like, it's all like very much. We should do it. A soap opera.
We could make a soap opera
about the Norse gods. We're film majors, just in case.
We could do it about the gods and goddesses.
Honestly,
bruh.
And we could call it like Norse Hospital. No, just kidding. it would be so funny. It could be like the family tree, the Norse tree, the just like I don't know.
You know, we'll brainstorm it.
We'll brainstorm. But yeah, so thank you for joining us. Felina's gonna have a topic for us next week,
and it is undecided.
Those are the best. It's gonna be a surprise.
It's a surprise to me, even.
It's a surprise. But
if you have any comments or questions, you can reach us at lattespodcast@gmail.com. So tune in next week where we will all find out what the topic is.
We'll find out what your next hyperfixation is.
Yeah. Well, my next I'm still kind of on the mummy thing is the issue.
We'll just talk about mummies the rest of this podcast.
This will just be a mummy podcast.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. This has become mummies on my mind.
Mummies on my mind.